Hello, my name is Daniel Marino, and this is Karate Thoughts. So I've been a karate practitioner since I was a child. I've been a karate teacher now for my entire adult life. And this is just a series that I do where I talk about subjects that are related to karate. So today I'm going to answer a question from a user named CJ Morales. And he just asked if I've ever run into people that disapprove of the way that I teach. And he specified, the way that I teach, like practical application of martial arts movements and the way that I teach sparring. And the answer is, of course, yes. I've run into, plenty of criticism, especially criticism online. A lot of the engagement that I get with the content that I share online is often negative. And I think this is just kind of a feature of the internet in general, because interactions on the internet are often relatively anonymous. I think it has a tendency to bring out negativity in the discourse. And this used to bother me a little bit more when I was, kind of new to sharing things on the internet. But I think I learned pretty quickly to kind of have a thick skin about it. If I'm being criticized by some anonymous person that I don't know anything about, I generally don't take that criticism very seriously at all. I generally ignore it. In some cases, I might respond to it. Very rarely would respond to it. And usually just to kind of point out how ridiculous this kind of behavior is, But for the most part, I just try to have a thick skin. And when I run into, just ego-driven, like anonymous, unconstructive criticism, I just don't engage with it. And I think that's generally the best way to approach it and the best way to handle it. In terms of other criticism that I've received, if I get some feedback that isn't particularly positive from someone who, well, for instance, if they're also a content creator themselves and if they create content that I like and that, I respect their knowledge and their ability, then, I'll try to take it into consideration. I'll try to learn something from it. I'm always try to be aware of my own deficiencies. I'm always trying to improve my knowledge and ability. And, a big part of that is being open to criticism. So it's not that I'm opposed to any kind of criticism whatsoever, but there's just certain, criteria, I think. It's kind of something that feels like somewhat evident, but I'm trying to find the words to describe it about what makes criticism appropriate and potentially constructive and what makes it inappropriate and just generally non-constructive. When I get like harsh criticism from someone who I don't know anything about, who just wants to, tear down, what I'm doing and criticize it and disparage me, it's like, what am I supposed to do with that? I do a lot of things to challenge myself. I've cross-trained in different martial arts. I put myself out there with the content I post on the internet all the time. I really just feel like I have processes that I use to question myself, to refine my process, to look at what I'm doing and to try to figure out what I can do better, the things that I should leave behind that weren't as good or as functional as I thought they were. I do put a lot of thought and a lot of effort into these things. And I just don't think that like random anonymous strangers on the internet really have much to offer me that I can't find, elsewhere in better places, even within myself, with the way that I analyze my own content and stuff like that. So that's just kind of some thoughts that I have on dealing with criticism in general, specifically criticism that you get online for, martial arts content. But, the word that was used in this question was disapprove, and I think that has kind of a specific connotation to it. It makes me think specifically of a lot of traditionalism in martial arts. For many people, traditionalism is considered something that's all about preservation, right? So it's about taking, your style, your martial art, and preserving it as it was given to you and passing it on to the next generation. And, listen, there are many people, and this is what, even karate and other traditional martial arts, this is what the practice is all about to them. And that's fine. I have plenty of respect for that. If you want to preserve the teachings of so-and-so, specific karate instructor, more power to you. But that's just not what I do. And I also think it's kind of a very reductive way to look at traditionalism in general. If we look at martial arts historically, something that we can definitely see in them is that they've always changed and adapted and evolved over time, and they hopefully improve over time to better serve the needs of the people practicing them. And so I would like to participate in that process. I try to take what I do and I try to make it better. I try to improve upon it so that I can give my students a better, martial arts experience training in my school. And I don't really consider this to be at odds at all with traditionalism. I understand there may be more specific, kind of concepts of traditionalism that are more about preservation, and that's fine. That's just not what I do. And, when people get personally offended by, statements that I make about karate history or about the functionality of, different practices in martial arts, when they take it personally and it's something that upsets them and they need to express their disapproval to me. I've had some interactions with people that are like a little bit ridiculous, where I've been told that that they are personally offended by the things that I share and the things that I do, and their reaction is like, how dare you, how dare you think these things, how dare you share these things, how dare you do these things. I really just feel like that stuff's all very ego driven. Sometimes when people are confronted with something that challenges their preconceived notions, their reaction is just dig their heels into the dirt and just attack and disparage. And that's, I don't want to beat around the bush with that. That's just like a personal failure, in my opinion. I very rarely am ever attacking individuals. I'm very rarely trying to disparage people. Most of what I do is I try to articulate my understanding and my continual study of the martial arts as I go through it. And if people are, offended by it or feel threatened by it, maybe they don't like that their students look at my content and, causes them to ask questions that they themselves may not be able to answer. It's like, I'm sorry, it's not meant to be an attack towards you. These are just my thoughts. This is my study. If it's at odds with your own study, that's okay. I'm not saying I'm the one that has all of the answers. But to have a reaction where you feel the need to insult or to disparage or to give just unfair, unconstructive criticism, where you just want to tear something apart to make you feel better about what you do, I don't have much time for that. Most of the time, I think the proper reaction, most of the time, what I personally do is I just ignore that kind of stuff. In extreme cases, I might respond to it, especially if it's something where I'm being attacked personally and I feel the need to, defend my own reputation. But for the most part, when I encounter criticism like that, it's from people that don't, share content themselves, don't know me personally. And it's usually just the kind of thing that I ignore. And that would be my, advice to anybody else, anyone who posts content on the internet themselves or is maybe considering, getting into posting martial arts content. You have to be prepared for that. You are going to encounter a lot of negativity, and most of it is pretty empty. Most of it is just anonymous criticism from, people trying to make themselves feel better by tearing something else down. And, just don't let it get to you. It's the kind of thing that I think holds too many people back from sharing martial art, their thoughts and their training. And I think that there are a lot of people out there that really have something to offer the martial arts community, that there are other people that would benefit from being exposed to their practice and to their thoughts about the martial arts. I know there are many people that have expressed that to me personally. And I just don't let it stop you. Don't let unfair, anonymous criticism stop you, because it's always going to be out there, So those are my thoughts on it. So thank you very much for the question. For everyone watching, if you have a question you'd like me to answer, if you have a subject that you'd like me to cover in a future video, please leave in the comments below. Thank you very much.